Welcome to the second Social Studies Innovation Virtual Conference. Our theme is Tech and Social Studies because all of the participants that are here have developed social studies products that involve tech. I'm Elizabeth Osborn, and I am the Education Director at the Indiana University Center on Representative Government. I'm a former high school teacher turned curriculum developer, merging into the tech world, which shocks all of my friends and family. So at the center today, we are the host of today's conference, and we are also one of the co-sponsors, and members of our staff are going to be online the whole time. So if you have any technical problems, don't know where you're supposed to be or how to get there, just make sure you pop into the chat and put that information in and ask for help, and we'll be sure to get you there. Oh, I see a Seattle teacher. Welcome. My parents live in the greater Seattle area as well. Okay, so a little bit about our center. Our center was founded by Congressman Lee Hamilton, and our mission is to prepare citizens of all ages to be informed, engaged, and active members of our representative democracy. Now, obviously today we're focusing more on the K through 12 side. The center, like all of the presenters who are participating in this conference, have received federal funding from one source or another to create free civics interactives for the K through 12 educators. Our personal project, our funding came from the Library of Congress, and our project is called Engaging Congress. So at this time, I'd also like to thank some of our other sponsors of the conference. So the U.S. Department of Education is a big supporter of the Social Studies Innovation Network. And as a matter of fact, this virtual conference is the culminating activity of their week-long in-person EdTech Expo. So one of the things that we're really trying to promote is innovation and technology in social studies, because social studies kind of gets a bad rap that we're behind everyone else. And we want to make teachers aware that there's lots of good technology out there for you to use with your students. And all of the participants in this conference, the projects are freely available to you because they've been funded by various federal agencies. Some have funding from the National Endowment for the Humanities, some from the U.S. Department of Education, others like us are from the Library of Congress. So the U.S. Department of Education, Ed Metz is our fearless leader on that front, is one of the sponsors of today's conference. Another sponsor of the conference is the National Endowment for the Humanities, and I feel like this is going to be a source of resources. It's already a source of resources for many of you. I know many of you probably attend National Endowment for the Humanities workshops and seminars throughout the year and over the summer. And so they're a valuable resource for educators. And I believe in the current legislation that is going through Congress that the civics is explicitly going to be added into the National Endowment for the Humanities mission. It's kind of always there under the surface, but it's not a named item like other humanities. But I believe in the future, they will be adding civics terminology if it goes through, and that can only be helpful to us as educators and allow them to potentially expand funding to even more topics to help social studies teachers in the classroom. As I've mentioned a few times, the Library of Congress is the co-sponsor of this event, and specifically their Teaching with Primary Sources project. If none of you are familiar with the Teaching with Primary Sources project, we're happy to introduce it to you today, and you can just go to the Library of Congress website, which is loc.gov, and look for their link. I'm looking at the closed captioning. It says LLC, but it's loc.gov, and look for their teachers link, and you will find a plethora of resources for you to use in your classroom. They are a national leader in providing funding and programming and resources for teachers, and their digital collections are growing by leaps and bounds all the time. And one of the things I always like to point out is their resources are not just for US history teachers, not just for government teachers. They have lots of stuff for teachers in every discipline: world history teachers, world government teachers, geography teachers, So if you haven't visited the Library of Congress Teachers page, it's definitely someplace that you should check out. Thanks, Mark, for putting in information in the chat for us. You can see other members of the Social Studies Innovation Network are helping out in the chat and popping in website links for you. And several of today's presenters, besides our center and Engaging Congress, are also funded by the Library of Congress. The Library of Congress has wonderful summer programs, and they've been doing incredible virtual work over the last year. So last, but certainly not least, is our own Social Studies Innovation Network. And we are the other sponsors of this project. The network was founded out of the EdTech Expo. Several of the founding members, hello, Jennifer Jolly. Several of the founding members of the Social Studies Innovation Network were presenters or participants in the EdTech Expo, and they were hanging around, talking as you're like to do between sessions, after sessions, in between, and saying that they should really get together and meet all year long, not just once a year at this EdTech Expo, with the goal of really making teachers aware of the social studies innovation projects that are out there. Because for the most part, I think we in the social studies are considered dinosaurs, and all the glory goes to the science teachers and the math teachers, that they're so innovative and tech savvy. But over the last year, we have shown the world that social studies teachers are very innovative as well. And this network's goal is to try to help promote and have teachers aware of many of the different resources that are out there for them. So I think this conference is one of the ways that we're doing this. Another way that we're doing this is by creating a distance learning guide. So I think we're going to try to put the URL. The latest distance learning guide was just released in time for this conference, and it's brand new and up on our website, and it has like one-pagers from all of the different members of the Innovation Network, so that you can look through, flip through, and find some of the resources that are useful for what you happen to be teaching, and also maybe to share it with your colleagues so they are aware of it as well. We do, of course, have a website as well. And on the website, you will be able to find links to all of the different projects. You'll be able to find the learning guide. As Mark said, you can sign up for our website. You'll also find a link to all of these pre-recorded sessions. You'll be able to find these sessions, because we are recording, as you'll note. You'll be able to find these sessions linked from both the center's website, and you'll be able to find them at the Social Studies Innovation Network website. And you'll also be able to find them on the Department of Education YouTube channel. So there are a lot of different places that you'll be able to access the content from today's program. So we do have some housekeeping that we need to take care of course. So first of all, I want to point out to you that we have two concurrent sessions. So we have an A and a B session, as you'll see on the agenda, which of course is the very first link in the chat if you scroll up past all the wonderful introductions, and we'll be placing it in there throughout the day. So the A sessions will take place in this very same Zoom room, so you won't have to go anywhere. If you want to participate in the B session, then you will need to use the other link. So the other link will be there in the website, in the chat, and it's on the website, so you'll be able to find it, no problem. And again, if you're having any difficulties, just put a note in the chat and we'll make sure that we direct you to the right place. So the center staff is going to be in both of those places, and the members of the Social Studies Innovation Network are in there as well to make sure that you end up at the right place. So if you have questions for the presenters, please put those in your chat as well. And most of the presenters have someone else from their team that's going to help them monitor the chat, and also the center staff will be moderating the sessions to try to help bring those questions in as well. I'm sure listen to the directions of your presenter, but for the most part, they will probably say it's okay for you to unmute your microphone and chime in if they haven't seen the chat, because sometimes I know all of you have been teaching remotely for the last year, so you know sometimes it's hard, you get distracted, you're talking, and sometimes you don't see the chat pop up. So please feel free, if the presenters say it's okay, to unmute and ask your questions. So we do have 2 keynote or solo sessions, and those will be back here in the A Zoom room. We'll have 5 minutes between sessions, so you have time to go and have a sip of your Diet Coke or beverage of preference. It is a Saturday, so you can do what you like, use the bathroom, and come back. So the first keynote is going to be, we're going to have session number 1, then we'll have that small 5-minute break, and then we'll come back to A, and we will have a keynote. Then we'll have several sessions in the A and B rooms, and then we'll come back here for our concluding speaker. So I think that is most of the housekeeping matters. Before I turn you over to go to your rooms, and we're running right on time, I want to give a special shout out to the 3 members of our staff who have really done all of the heavy lifting. So Ann Bono is the maestra behind the scenes, and she's the one putting most of the links in, and she has done an incredible amount of work to make this happen. So also, she's been assisted by Kristen Roberts, who has managed the Eventbrite, and I know helped communicate with you. And Casey Brinegar is the director of new media at the center, and he is the one that shakes his head at what he thinks is my incompetence, which I am always challenging. I just have a steeper learning curve than he has, but he's there behind the scenes helping out as well. Along with it, we'd also like to give another shout out to Ed Metz from the Department of Education, who is really the driving force behind making sure this is happening, and Mark Gage, who from the Center for Civic Education. He is really the person who makes sure our meetings go well, keeps everybody running efficient. He's the one who did a lot of the heavy lifting, getting the distance learning guide updated and accessible for all. So we'd like to shout out, and of course, to all the members of the SSIM. So again, before I turn you loose, the last thing I just want to remind you is if you think that if you would like to request a certificate for professional development, make sure in whatever session that you're in the chat that you participate at least 2 times so that we can verify your participation, because of course the chat is preserved. And then after the conference, go ahead and send an email to us. I'll put mine in the chat, that I am eosborn@iu.edu. And Bono is even easier. She's bono@iu.edu. So if you text her or send her an email, she will be sure to forward it to me and Kristen so we can take care of certificates for you. So again, thank you so much for sharing your Saturday with us. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and send you off to your sessions. So if you are interested in session A, stay here in this room, learning Indigenous history in context from an Indigenous perspective. And if you would like to see the immersive experience, We the People in the American Center, Jerusalem, go ahead and go to Zoom Room B right now. So this is the end of the welcome. Go find yourself the correct room, and we'll see you back here for the keynote.